Hello and welcome to another video here at Hobbies and Happiness. My name's Dan.
And I'm Jim. And today it's spoiler season.
Man, it really does feel like it's spoiler season, doesn't it, Jim?
I think it is.
Yeah. yeah. So the floodgates, the Disney Lorcana floodgates have officially been opened, and we're excited. We're excited to finally talk about it. So last week was an absolutely massive week for Disney Lorcana. And we've got a lot of content that we kind of want to make, and we're starting with all of the cards that have been spoiled. So before we get started, there was actually a pretty good article by The Gamer. So we'll make sure that gets linked in the description of this video that kind of walks you through the entirety of the week, because guys, it was a massive week that I don't think any one of us was ready for. Jim, when I sent you that message on that Monday, were you ready for that?
I was prepared for them to drop something, but not what they gave us. Yeah.
So actually, guys, if you head over to our channel, if you go back, we did a live stream on Monday night, kind of giving our initial thoughts of the quick start rules, and we've got other content that we're planning, that we're actually actively going to be recording here in the next couple days or so, kind of just giving you our takes. We recently recorded our podcast, which just released a couple days ago. So if you want to head over to our channel, listen to that podcast. We give you all of our thoughts about the rules and what we think so far about the game. And you know what? We're excited. Jim, you're still excited, right? Right.
Actually, I've lost excitement. Okay. This game's taking way too long to get out. Okay. I need it yesterday.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, with all that out of the way, we're going to get started, and we're kind of going to go through it kind of in chronological order of when the cards were released, and we're going to talk about them. So before we get started, actually, there's one thing that we do want to talk about is the how you say the cards, how you analyze them and how you say them. It's going to fluctuate. We're working on it. We're figuring out the best way to say it because it's a little confusing. So bear with us. We're going to do our best. And to start off, first of all, the way the week started was a quote-unquote leak. Some people say it's a leak. Some people say it's not. But we got some photos of the GTM magazine where we saw about, about 8 new cards, roughly. So the first one we're going to talk about is Lefou. Lefou Bumbler. Lefou Bumbler is a 2-cost, 1/2/2 Storyborn ally in Amber and is inkable. That is a mouthful, very much a mouthful, but I think it flows. So Lefou has the ability Loyal. If you have a character named Gaston in play, you pay 1 ink less to play this character. So a 2-drop, you could cast him for 1, only if you have Gaston on board. Jim, what do you think? What do you make of Lefou?
For 2 cost, he's okay, but getting it 50% off, making him 1 cost with having out the Gaston makes this card so much better.
You mean to say if I can cast something for cheaper, it's automatically better?
Who would have thought?
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, right. So one of the things that we're actively looking at is how to evaluate these cards, right? When we see all these cards for the first time, we're really going to be able to have a good baseline of stats of, okay, if you have a card that costs 2, here's what you could expect. If you have a card that costs 3, here's what you could expect. So for me, I'm kind of like waiting a little bit more until we see more cards to figure out, okay, is this good? Is this bad? Should I expect more? Should I expect less? So Lefou seems okay. I do think for 1, he is significantly better. Again, no pun intended, right? Right. But still, I do think at 1 cost, he's probably pretty good. But 2 cost, you're probably looking for a bit more. So the next card we have is Just in Time. Just in Time is a 3-cost action in Amber. With the card text, you may play a... Okay, let me actually read the card here, if I can actually pull it up. Just in Time. Again,
don't want to pull a Jim.
Yeah, it's a 3-cost action. It says you may play a character with cost 5 or less for free. So it is not inkable, meaning you cannot use this card as a resource. So Jim, what do you think of the card Just in Time?
You know, if this card had instant speed, man, now we're talking. But I mean, anytime you're able to play anything for cheaper cost, bring out a 5-drop on turn 3, now you're just tempoing like crazy in comparison to your opponent if they can't keep up with it.
Right. One thing that I'm interested in is to see how prevalent these types of effects are going to be. Right. So like, are we going to see a just in time for 3, you know, making it so we can cast cards at cost 5. So giving us a 2 cost discount at max. So we're going to see something that like a similar action at 5 and 6 for those higher cost cards. Because so far it seems like we do have a lot of pretty expensive cards, like at 7, 8, and at least 1 at 9 that I'm aware of. So are there going to be multiple effects that make those cards cheaper? Who knows? But I mean, at face value, Just in Time looks like a pretty good card. And again, if you're in Amber and you've got those more expensive characters in your deck, you're probably going to be running Just in Time. Time will tell, obviously, but Just in Time looks like a pretty decent card. All right, the next card that we have, I really like this card. So this card is Yzma Alchemist. So Yzma is a 2-cost 2/2/1 in Amethyst. She's a Dreamborn villain sorcerer with the ability, you're excused. Whenever this character quests, look at the top card of your deck. Put it on either the top or bottom of your deck. So we can basically remove 2 lines of text, and basically Yzma could say, whenever this character quests, scry 1. Jim, what do you think of Yzma?
I don't know if they're allowed to say scry 1, Dan, but if they were able to, they could definitely do it.
True.
But yeah, I love this card so much. The stat line 2/2 for 2, but then it has the 1 lore point. So
yeah, she can quest for 1.
It's like it's 1 damage because you're going to 20 faster. You know what I mean?
Yes,
or slightly slower.
That's actually a great point that we're gonna touch on another video of like how to analyze these cards. Because if you look at the card, their lore and how much they're questing, basically view it as damage, because that is your win condition. Instead of depleting your opponent's life point, you're actively trying to basically heal yourself, essentially, right? If we're talking within that same context. So what's interesting to me is Yzma is a common. So this is a common card. And again, I'm very interested to see how these cards are going to be analyzed and what the rarity actually means on a card. So Yzma, I definitely like her. Jim's a big fan of Yzma, aren't you, Jim? You really do like it.
Love it.
So the next 2 cards we're just going to touch on briefly are vanilla cards. So we have Mickey Mouse Steamboat Pilot and Scar Fiery Usurper. Mickey Mouse Steamboat Pilot is a 3-cost 3/4/1 in Emerald and is inkable. Again, no text, as Mickey is a vanilla. And then we also have Scar Fiery Usurper. Scar is a 4-cost 5/3/1 and is inkable in Ruby. So we do have we've seen a lot of excuse me, I almost said fiery cards. What I meant is vanilla cards. So, you know, those cards I feel like are going to be, you're going to see a lot of them. So that's what we have in Mickey and Scar. The next card that we have is Belle. Belle, Inventive Engineer. Already I'm a fan of Belle because she's an engineer. So Belle is a 3-cost 2/3/2 in in blue. Is this Sapphire, Jim? Forgive me, I believe this
says
is
it right below the card there.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much for that. It would help if you read. You know, reading's hard, isn't it? So anyway, Belle has the ability Tinker, which says whenever this character quests, you pay 1 ink less for the next item you play this turn. She is a Dreamborn hero, princess, inventor. So one thing I'm also interested to know is what those classifications, how much those are going to come into play. So we'll see here in the next coming weeks, months, how much that's going to come into play. But Jim, what do you think of Belle?
When I first saw this card, I was extremely intrigued just because I love the idea behind the artwork. And but seeing her be able to make the cost of items a lot cheaper, and it seems like they have some pretty good cards or for items inside of blue. So I'm excited to see what other ones come out for them. And I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah, so Belle pairs very well with her father, Maurice. Maurice is a 6-drop, 2/7/2, has the ability to give it a try, which says whenever this character quests, you pay 2 less for the next item you play this turn. So effectively, if you quest with both Maurice and Belle, you can cast an item for 3 cheaper, so you get a 3-cost discount. But Maurice also has the ability, It Works, which says whenever you play an item, you may draw a card. So it seems like Maurice and Belle would fit very well in an item-heavy deck. This just brings me back to thinking about like an artifact deck in Magic. So Belle just seems like she's going to pair very, very well with Maurice.
I think when we get into the second chapter and the third chapter, the future sets, when we start getting more cards for them, you can really start getting into that archetype you're talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Running them with the items.
For sure. Yeah. So the next card that we have here is Hercules True Hero. Hercules is a 3-cost, 3/3/1 Dreamborn Hero Prince in Steel with the ability Bodyguard. Bodyguard, if you're familiar with Hearthstone, is Taunt. So we did speculate that we were going to see this type of ability within the game, and we were right. We did say the name. We thought it was going to be Guardian. As Jim joked, Guardians of the Galaxy. We were close. It's Bodyguard, so Body Guardian.
Yeah.
Can we get 50%?
We were right.
There. We were there. Yeah. So the ability Bodyguard states this character may enter play exerted. An opposing character who challenges one of your characters must choose one with Bodyguard if able. So again, as we learned in the rules, in order to challenge one of your opponent's characters, that character must be exerted. So it makes sense for Bodyguard that character has to be exerted for your opponent to attack into it. So Jim, what do you think of a Hercules True Hero?
I love it. The stat line is pretty spot on. 3 damage, 3 toughness, 3 cost, and utilizing him to protect your cards that say if they are really close to death, you throw down a Hercules, they have to swing at him their next turn, and you could throw down another Hercules the following turn. You could just set up some really good defensive plays.
Yeah. And honestly, chipping in for that one lore, at least one, hopefully 1 turn, maybe 2 turns, may not make an immediate difference, but that could be the difference in the end if you're able to quest with your bodyguards once or maybe twice. Obviously, you wouldn't get it the turn they come in because when they enter play, they do enter exerted, but maybe you don't have to worry about that. If your opponent has an open board and you don't have to worry about them attacking or challenging into your characters. You could cast Hercules, or you could play Hercules, have him enter unexerted, so you would then be able to at least quest with him 1 turn. So I you know what, me talking about this right now just honestly made me think about that versatility and that flexibility of like being unexerted. There's some flexibility there. So I do like Hercules and the ability Bodyguard. I'm a fan. The next card that we have, I know is going to be one of Jim's favorites. I know Jim's going to like this. It is Fire the Cannons. So Fire the Cannons is a 1-cost action in Steel with the ability deal 2 damage to chosen character. Now it is a non-inkable action, meaning you cannot use it as a resource. Jim, what do you think of Fire the Cannons?
When I first saw it, I thought bad card, Dan. I'm like, it's missing 1 damage, but there is something. There was a card that came out, and you're able to recycle it. So I like it a little bit more. Yep,
and we'll talk about that card here in a second. So Fire the Cannons, again, if you're familiar with Magic, it's basically Shock, but Shock is just a poor man's lightning bolt, basically. So until we see it's interesting, though, is the fact in set 1, they came out with a card that costs 1 for only 2 damage, and we didn't see a 1 cost for 3. I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't like a 2 cost. Well, but they've already set the stage. For a 1 cost for 2. So I think if they released a 1 cost for 3 damage, I don't know. I don't know how that would go over. But what do you think?
I could still see them coming out with 3 damage for 1 cost, just because this card with the Captain Hook can be brought back. So that's why I'm still hopeful for a 1 damage or 3 damage for 1 cost.
True.
I still think it could be a thing.
True. Yeah. So fire the cannons. I know there's a lot of talk within the community about direct damage action. So fire the cannons got a lot of people excited, both Jim and I included. So all right. So we moved from that GTM magazine. In the afternoon, we got the release of the quick start rules. So the internet was ablaze when this was released. And as we're all going through it, we noticed there were a few new cards from here. So you had about 6 cards that were shown but also touched on. There were 2 cards that were not shown. One of them was shown later. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. The first one is Dinglehopper. So Dinglehopper is a 1 cost item in amber and is inkable with the ability Straighten Hair. You can exert it to remove up to 1 damage from chosen character. Jim, what do you think of Dinglehopper?
Anytime you're able to heal, I hate it. So I just want to put out as much raw damage as possible.
Yeah.
But the fact that you don't have to pay any more for this, it's just an item that sits out there. Tap it to remove a damage. It is really good, especially when Amber wants to protect their team. Yeah.
Amber more and more is seeming like the color that is all about healing and protection. Mm-hmm. So just for the ability of just having this out on board in every turn, heal one, that can add up real quick. So if you get Dinglehopper out on turn 1, I mean, you probably wouldn't want to do it on turn 1 because on turn 2, you're probably not going to be able to heal anything because if that's your turn 1 play. Mm-hmm. So, but maybe getting Dinglehopper out on turn 2 and then utilizing it even that turn is going to be useful because again, with items, you can exert them the turn they come into play. So I do like Dinglehopper, but again, time will tell if this effect at this rate is going to be impactful or not. So that was Dinglehopper. The next card that we got was the first song. Songs, again, have been talked about at length, and we will definitely talk about these more. But the first song that we saw is One Jump Ahead. Gotta eat to live, gotta still to eat, tell you all about it when I got the time. Yeah, if you can tell, I like Aladdin. So it is One Jump Ahead. One Jump Ahead is a 2-cost action song with the ability put the top card of your deck into your inkle face down and exert it. So One Jump Ahead is not inkable, meaning you cannot use it as a resource. Now, the thing with songs, which I really like, I have said that I think songs are a gimmick that work. I don't know if that's true. Jim will touch on that in a second if he thinks it's true. I know he disagrees. But time will tell, but I really love these songs. So the thing about songs is you can exert a character that cost the song's cost or more to cast this card for free or play the card for free. So with One Jump Ahead, since it costs 2, you can exert a character that costs 2 or more, which will sing the song for free. So One Jump Ahead is basically ramp. But Jim, what do you think about One Jump Ahead, and what do you think about me calling them gimmicks? Do you think that these songs are gimmicks?
I don't think it's correct to call them gimmicks.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
They still need something to kind of set them apart from other card games, and I shouldn't say all of them, but majority of the movies they make are musicals, so it makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. It's very much on theme. Very, very much on theme. Yes, that's correct.
And we talked about it with what's the little Amber guy's name? Lefou? What's this?
Lefou? Yeah, Lefou. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Lefou. Anytime you're able to make anything cheaper, or in this case, free, is pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It's pretty nice. Yeah. So the one thing that I'm very interested about with this mechanic is, again, the versatility. So now we look at characters, okay? You need to look at what is going to give me the most bang for the buck, essentially. What's going to get me the most value? With my character, do I quest with the character for the lore, actively proceeding towards my win condition, or do I challenge a character? Or now you have an additional question to ask yourself. Do I exert the character to sing the song for me and then I get this effect for free, allowing me to utilize my resources for other cards. It's just so many interesting questions that are being asked. So, and that's one of the reasons I really do like these songs, is just giving you that added flexibility and the versatility for casting these cards. So that is one jump ahead, our first song. So the next one, we do have another vanilla character in Donald Duck Boisterous Fowl. So Donald Duck is a 2-cost, 2/3/1, and is inkable in Ruby. So again, just another vanilla character, but with a stat line of 2, 2, 3, 1. You know, looking at Donald Duck actually does make me kind of analyze these cards a little bit more, I should say, but I see 2 cost. Now, normally when we look at a game like Magic the Gathering, you know, if you're paying 2, you would expect like a 2/2 for 2, right? Mm-hmm. So with this, you almost see that. You see 2 cost, 2/3, and then with this additional stat line, you see 1. So that difference of 3 and the 1, right? If you take off that 3, that'll go down to 2, but then you add it to the lore, that would be 2 across the board. I'm really interested to see if we're going to see like a very linear stat line. So like, again, if we were to pay 2, if we're going to expect a 2/2/2, or if we pay 3, we're going to expect a 3/3. I mean, I don't think you're going to expect that, because, you know, the highest lore we've seen is Mickey at 4. So this is just, again, it's just another wrinkle that I'm interested to see what we're going to be able to do with analyzing these cards. The next card that we see in the quick rolls is Captain Hook. Captain Hook, captain of the Jolly Roger. This is the second Captain Hook card that we've seen, but this is the one that gets that awesome Fire the Cannons card back. So Captain Hook is a 4-cost, 3/4/1, non-inkable, Storyborn villain pirate captain with the ability double the powder. When you play this character, you may return an action card named Fire the Cannons from your discard to your hand. Jim, what do you think about Captain Hook?
Love it. Love it, love it. Still gives me hope we're going to see Lightning Bolt, Dan.
Yeah. I'm very interested. I am interested to see if we're going to see that too.
I literally won't play anything else.
I know. Yeah, but I really do like this Captain Hook card. Like, flavor on point. So far, pretty much everything with this game is a flavor win, if you ask me. Initially, I wasn't too sold on the naming of every single ability. I thought it was a little off, but it works. Like, again, from a theming standpoint, it pretty much all works. So I do, again, getting that Fire the Cannons back, so you potentially can cast Fire the Cannons, play Captain Hook, get it back, and then cast it again for a total of 6 cost. I mean, that's pretty decent. And then if you're able to give Captain Hook a rush, I mean, now we're talking about, let's see, Fire the Cannons gives you 4 total damage plus 3, so now you're looking at 7 total damage output for 6 cost in a turn. Sign me up, maybe? I don't know. I think it's pretty good, man. So we also got 2 other cards that were mentioned in the article. One is Beastmere, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. The other is Elsa, Queen Regent. We know nothing about this card. Jim was the one who pointed it out to me because I didn't see it. But Jim, what got your gears turning when you saw Elsa, Queen Regent?
Every single time I see the Elsa that they showed us, what was that convention? I forget.
D23?
Yeah, that one. Now that we know how to play the game, every time I see her, I get a little sad. Okay. Yeah. But it's all right. It's all right because there's still hope. All right. There's still other ways that we can make it work. If this queen allows us, let's say it did, whenever you tap an opponent's character through an effect, you can untap the character. So if we're able to tap down something with Elsa and then restand her back up, it's going to be so much better. And then who knows, maybe even we draw a card. Huh? Draw a card, maybe? All right, it'd be a little broken.
Yeah.
It'd be a little broken. But it could also be like 8 mana. I don't care. Make it happen.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this Elsa does, but Elsa Queen Regent got a lot of people talking, so hopefully we'll see that card here pretty soon. All right, so a couple of days later, there was a press release from Ravensburger, excuse me, detailing the contents of the starter decks. Well, I shouldn't say the entirety of the starter deck contents, but the cards that were on the covers. So before that point, we knew, I believe, 3 of the total cards that were on the front. It was maybe 2 or 3. I do think it was 2. But in this article, we got 3 more cards. We got Aladdin, Simba, and Moana. So first we're going to start off with Aladdin. Aladdin Heroic Outlaw. So Aladdin is a 7-cost, 5/5/2 Heroic Outlaw in Ruby and is inkable. He's a Floodborn hero with Shift 5. So instead of paying 7, you could pay 5 and play him on top of another Aladdin character you control. With the ability Daring Exploit, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore, and each opponent loses 2 lore. Jim, what do you think about Aladdin Heroic Outlaw?
This card is so good. I love him so much. Not only are we trying to control the board with, taking out your opponent's stuff, but when you banish another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore and you get rid of 2 of your opponent's lore. Now we know that you are able to manipulate the lore of your opponent, which if we weren't able to do that, this game would be a lot more simple and maybe a little too easy. But now we know we're able to, get around it. So I love this card 100%.
And the reason I'm so excited about this card is just that point. So on Monday, when we streamed our initial reactions, one of the things we specifically talked about in our speculation video was we said that you would be able to manipulate the lore that your opponents have, and maybe even yourself, right? So we made that speculation, and when we saw the rules, we were like, there's nothing in here that mentions anything about lore manipulation. Are we going to be able to interact with our opponent's lore totals? And so Cassidy Werner was in that chat and basically gave us the wink and the nod of just wait and see. And then 2 days later, we see Aladdin, and we're like, we got it. We nailed it. And that just got me more excited because, again, it's another layer of strategy that you need to look into. So the only thing that would make Aladdin better is if it just said you gain lore equal to the amount your opponents lost.
Drain 2 lore.
Well, from each opponent. So if you have 3 opponents, instead of gaining 2, you'd gain 6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little broken, right?
Yeah.
So
it makes it even more dumb at that point, though. But.
Yeah. So the only other thing I am interested in at this point regarding this card is Floodborn. I want to know more about the Floodborn. What does it mean? What's the story connection? Because from the get-go, I've been very, very interested in the Floodborn, Heroborn, and Dreamborn. And I'm excited to see that play out here in the next few weeks and months ahead. So the next card that we got, I'm a big fan of this one, is Simba. It's your boy Simba. Simba Return King. So Simba is a 7-cost, 4/6/2, and is inkable. He is a Steel Storyborn Hero King with Challenger +4. So Challenger says while challenging, this character gets +4 strength. With the ability Pounce, during your turn, this character gains Evasive. So with the potential to gain some evasion, which is weird because we typically use the word evasion, meaning it's more difficult to target, but the actual keyword is evasive. Just flows, I guess. So Jim, what do you think about Simba Return King?
I didn't think about this until a second ago, right? Mm-hmm. It's during your turn he gains evasion. So it's like he's hiding through the grass, sneaking his way up on the opponent, which the only way you could even attack evasive is if you have evasive. So he's able to sneak up on the enemies, people who are trying to be sneaky.
Correct.
I think they did a great job with it, especially putting the grass in the background of the card.
Yeah.
Phenomenal setup. And not to mention, when you're swinging for 8 damage when challenging.
Oh, man.
Dude, that's huge.
Oh, man. That's huge, dude. That is huge. But I really like how you pointed it out. Like, he really is sneaking, right? Mm-hmm. So I like it. So with that Challenger, it's just, again, with that Challenger +4, making it just like, oh, I'm only a 4/6. No, I'm not. I'm an 8/6, and I can get your evasive stuff. So yeah, that's Simba. I'm a fan. Like I really do like Simba Returned King. All right, the next one, Moana has already been called broken. She's the most broken card. All right. She's not that broken. She's cool. She's good. But Moana of Motunui is a 5-cost 1/6/3. So she does get that 3 lore when she quests. She's an Amber Storyborn Hero Princess and is inkable with the ability We Can Fix It. Whenever this character quests, you may ready your other princess characters. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. Key sentence there, they cannot quest for the rest of the turn. Jim, what do you think of Moana?
All right, so funny thing about this, right? I know that this card was out and people were calling it broken. I don't think I remember reading what this card did, but it is it is really strong. And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, wait, you mean to tell me I can untap Elsa with this? And I go, look, she's a queen, so never mind. I got so excited, and then it's just gone.
Oh goodness, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
I'm trying, Dan. I'm trying.
I know you're trying to make Elsa just like so broken. So time will tell. We just need to get more cards, and then there will be like a 2-3 card synergistic combo that just breaks Elsa for you, man. Probably. So yeah, so that's Moana. I'm a big fan of this. I mean, again, it does speak to the color amber, really just with the protection aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Because again, if you're able to tap all of your other princesses, and then when you quest with Moana, they are able to then untap or unexert, then they can't be challenged during your opponent's turn. So, far that's. Go ahead, or you challenge with them.
Well, I mean, there's that. But I was also going to say, or you turn it into a crazy value engine of tap all your princesses to get whatever effects, quest with Moana, and then untap all of them, tap them all again to get their effects. Unless it states you can only do it once per turn. But it doesn't seem like they're stating that.
Correct. No, right. Exactly. They're not. So right now, again, time will tell of what other princesses we see in the first chapter, how broken, again, in quotations, Moana of Motunui is going to be. All right. And then we move to Thursday. Thursday was the day that like those Lorcana floodgates just bam burst wide open. So we're going to start with the Polygon article. So Polygon did an interview with Ryan Miller. We'll be sure to link that down in the description below. Be sure you go check that out. There's a lot of great information in that article. So go check that out. But we got 3 cards from this article, 2 steel and then 1 sapphire. The first one we're going to go over is another item, Frying Pan. So Frying Pan is a 2-cost item in steel and is inkable with the ability Clang. Banish this item. Chosen character can't challenge during their next turn. Jim, what do you make of the Frying Pan? What do you think?
So when I first saw it, I didn't like this card at all. I didn't like the fact that you had to banish this in order to stop them. But then again, it'd probably be a little too broken if you could just keep tapping it every single turn to stop your opponent from challenging their stuff. Right. 2 cost with Maurice isn't that bad. When you quest Maurice, bring this card out for free. It's not terrible. And challenging is going to be pretty important. I just don't know how important this card's going to be. It's hard to say.
Right. And that's where it comes to. It's pretty early. Time will tell how important this card's going to be, if it is. Because again, really what this is going to come down to is how important challenging is going to be for players. So time's going to tell. Again, flavor is just on point. Really love the flavor of the card. And even the other thing, again, we talk about flavor, but the flavor text, it's a fine piece of cookware, but as a weapon, it's truly stunning. Again, it's just a flavor win for everything. And so Frying Pan is the first card that we are going to look at. And then the second steel card is Kristoff. Kristoff is a vanilla card. So Kristoff is a 3-cost, 3/3/2. Again, there's that stat line. We see 3-cost, 3/3/2. He's an inkable Storyborn ally. It's Kristoff official Ice Master. So again, we look at that stat line, 3-cost, 3/3/2. Again, I think this is a pretty good basis to go off of for stat lines. Just out of curiosity, Jim, I kind of want to get your take. What do you think of that stat line? Do you think this is something we kind of can expect for cards, or what do you think of the stat line?
Yeah, pretty much. Vanillas, it makes a lot of sense to be going off like this. The only thing that I'm questioning is if they go to 4, do they? Oh yeah, I guess we do have
we do have
4
one
drop.
so far. We have,
yeah.
I'm sorry, 4 drop. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, if they keep increasing the power toughness, that makes a lot of sense. But they can't keep increasing the lore count, the lore points, whatever it's called. The lore counters on it.
Lore, yeah.
The lore pips. And so they can't keep
people are still going to call it the pips.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, the most that we've seen so far is that Mickey Brave Little Tailor with that 4 lore. So that's the highest that we've seen so far. Everything else, I don't think there's not been another card that we've seen that quests for 4 so far. So yeah, that's the one where it's going to be interesting, where if they drop that lore, they may raise the strength or willpower depending. So, but yeah, this is a pretty decent stat line. So the next card that we got is Let It Go. Let It Go. Jim loves it. Jim, I guarantee, would, if I let him, would probably just continue to sing the song.
I'd sing it.
So Let It Go is a 5-cost inkable action in Sapphire with the ability put chosen character into their player's inkwell face down and exerted. So Let It Go is actually one of our cards of the week, actually this past card of the week. So go check that out. You can listen to our thoughts there. But one of my favorite things about this card, you know what, Jim, let me pass it to you. What do you think of Let It Go?
The thing I love most about it is that it makes me think there's going to be a blue Elsa. So maybe that's what the queen is. Because come on, you're not going to have this card in blue and not have an Elsa in blue to tap and play this card. You're not going to do that.
You're not wrong.
You're
very exactly. Elsa has to sing "Let It Go."
She has to
sing "Let It Go."
Yeah,
yeah. Because if we can't, then that is a flavor fail.
Yeah, I will not play this game.
Yeah, so we have to see an Elsa in Sapphire so she can sing "Let It Go." But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of this card. Again, we speak of versatility. This is something that can remove an annoying piece on your opponent's board, but also maybe ramp you if you have a character, because it is specifically a character that it's basically done its job and maybe has 1 willpower left. You could play Let It Go or sing Let It Go for free, turning that character into a resource for yourself. So again, versatility is always nice. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is this comicbook.com interview. So this interview was specifically talking about the organized play programs, and there were 3 cards that were shown here that were their promo cards. Again, when many, I shouldn't say most. I do think maybe many is the correct adjective to use here, but when a lot of people think of promo cards, they do think of mechanically unique cards. I guess it also depends on the game you're coming from. So the Lorcana team has said multiple times that when they do promos, there will not be mechanically unique promos. So these promos that they did show in this article were promos with different artworks, okay, and different stamps on the cards. So there were 3 cards. You have Mickey Mouse, Heihei, and Yzma. So this article talked a lot about the organized play program. So again, we'll make sure to link that article down below if you want to go check that out. So, but from this article, there were 2 new cards that we hadn't seen yet. All right, the first one we're going to talk about is Mickey Mouse Detective. Mickey Mouse Detective is a Sapphire Dreamborn Hero Detective. He's a 3-cost, 1/3, and is non-inkable with the ability to get a clue. When you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. Jim, what do you think about this Mickey Mouse?
You know, if you're a fan of ramp, you're going to love this card. And it looks like blue has a lot of ways to ramp yourself. So expect playing blue with the big cards.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this that I noticed is it does basically say when you play it, it is a may ability. Okay, you don't have to. So if you don't know what that card is, it's like, do you want to take that risk getting rid of that card as a resource? So that's 100%. Just something to keep in mind. I do think if you play this, you may want to know what that top card of your deck is. So maybe pair with Yzma, where you can scry to know that information beforehand. So that was the first one. The second one that we saw was Heihei Boat Snack. So Heihei is a 1-cost, 1/2/1 inkable Storyborn ally in Amber with the ability Support. So Support is the first time we've seen this support keyword. And Support says whenever this character quests, you may add their strength to another chosen character's strength this turn. I'm pretty sure it is strength. It's strength and willpower. So for 1 cost, basically buffing another one of your characters for 1. Jim, what do you think? What do you think about Heihei, and what do you think about the support ability?
So, when you're thinking about the game, right? And the card can only do one of a couple things. You can either attack or challenge something, or you can quest. This gives you the value, but it's actually even slightly better than just attacking with both of your creatures. So now you get to quest with this card, and you get to give his attack to another card to go ahead and challenge something. Phenomenal setup. I can't wait to see more of these effects.
Yeah, I really do like this effect, because then now it adds a wrinkle, okay? So now it goes to your opponent. What's your opponent going to do? Is your opponent going to prioritize the support character? Because this is just a 1/2/1, right? Or are you going to take care of the main threat, right? So it's another wrinkle of, okay, what are you going to do, opponent? Like, are you going to take care of my supports here, or what, are you going to take care of the big baddie over here? I think that's a very, very interesting question that you're adding into the mix here. So that's Heihei Boat Snack. I'm a fan. I really do like this support ability. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this was where it's at. Head over to the Lorcana main website, and they put out a series of pretty awesome gameplay videos. So there's about 8 different videos that you can all go through. These videos were specifically designed and aimed for newer TCG players. So pretty much when this was announced, when this was shown, pretty much the entire community went directly to their website, watched every single one, and then we're all in the Discord chatting, oh man, have you seen this card, this card? There were a bunch of new cards that they showed off through the course of these videos, and we're going to touch on them. First of all, there were about, what did we say, Jim? 7? I think there were 7 vanilla cards. You have Stitch New Dog, you have Mickey Mouse True Friend, you have Maleficent Sinister Visitor, Flounder Voice of Reason, Maleficent Biding Her Time, Minnie Mouse Beloved Princess, and Aurora Regal Princess. So Mickey and Minnie are both in Amber. What's interesting is we are most definitely going to see the entirety of the Fab 5 in this first set. But of all of these, there was really one card that stood out of the vanilla, which again these are all just vanilla. They're all kind of boring, but there is one card, okay, and that's Maleficent Biding Her Time. So Maleficent is a 1-cost, 1/1/2 inkable Dreamborn Villain Sorcerer in Amethyst. So again, let's look at that stat line. 1-cost, 1/1, but for 2, she can quest for 2 lore. So if you're able to get Maleficent down on turn 1, you can rack up some lore points very, very, very quickly. So there was a lot of people talking about Maleficent, and I think rightly so, because again, we're trying to evaluate all these stat lines. Jim, what do you think about Maleficent Biding Her Time? What do you think of that stat line?
If you play Amethyst, you play this Maleficent. Even if you don't play another card that has Shift with Maleficent, you're playing this Maleficent. The fact that early game you can bring her down to start questing to get you 2, or late game if you don't even need it, throw it in, or mid to late game, throw it into your back row. The fact that she can also be used as mana is phenomenal. This is one of the, I don't want to say the best, one of the best cards they've shown, but man, is it good.
Yep. Yep, and that's exactly what a lot of people thought too. I mean, 1 cost, 1/1/2, man, that's pretty good. So time will tell whether this is going to remain up top like that until we see the entirety of that first set. The next card that we have is Magic Broom Bucket Brigade. So Magic Broom is a 2 cost, 2/2/1 Amethyst Dreamborn Broom with the ability Sweep. Sweep says when you play this character, you may shuffle a card from any discard into its player's deck. So effectively, if you have Mickey, Wayward Sorcerer on board, making all of your brooms 1 cheaper, so this could be a 1 cost, 2/2/1. Jim, what's your initial take on these Magic Brooms here?
When I first saw this card, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We found the first broom that we can utilize with the Mickey. And I got pretty excited. You take a look at the effect. You have 2 ways you can run it. If you know your opponent is using a little bit of recursion and they have cards in their discard that they want to get rid of, then you have it to where you can get rid of those cards back into their deck and they can no longer just grab them super easy. Or you can take a card that you really like from your graveyard, shuffle it back into your deck, and maybe, just maybe, be able to play it again.
Right. So again, it's that versatility, right? Of maybe protecting your cards that are in the discard, but if you don't have a ton of ways to get them back, right? But again, the first thing that I saw was, oh man, we've seen a lot of cards with recursion already. How are we going to, because we don't have an exile zone, we don't have an out of play zone yet. So or cards that have introduced a zone like that. There's going to be things that can get broken very quickly, right? You've got cards that can recur. What are we going to do about them? Well, Magic Broom is the answer. So I think for Magic Broom at 1, and then paired with Mickey, Wayward Sorcerer, the ability to get that broom back to your hand, because again, that Ceaseless Worker ability from Mickey says whenever one of your broom characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand. So again, like being able to do this again and again and again, both on theme, right? Fantasia, right? But also a very, very good effect. So that's Magic Broom Bucket Brigade. The next card that we have, I'm a big fan of this one. I shouldn't say mostly, because this is from one of my favorite films, and that is The Sword and the Stone. It is Develop Your Brain. So Develop Your Brain is a 1 cost inkable action in Sapphire, which says, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put 1 into your hand and the other on the bottom of your deck. Jim, what do you think about this action card?
This card's dumb, Dan. This is, I talked about Maleficent being one of the most broken cards they made. This is up there.
It does seem like 1 is just that's really cheap. It just seems pretty cheap just to look at 2 cards. Oh, I'm going to put the best one of those 2 into my hand, and then I'm not discarding it. I'm putting it on the bottom of my deck. I mean, again, time will tell. Would it be better if that went to your discard? Depending on how you built your deck, yes. But again, for one cost, looking at 2 cards, yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Now, the thing about this card being inkable, it doesn't even matter that it's inkable, because you're pretty much always going to want to play this card to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 into your hand.
And then the ability to recur this card. I mean, for 1, it's just it's so cheap. So maybe there's a play line of Develop Your Brain. I play another card such as Lady Tremaine, which allows me to get an action card back. Then I play Develop Your Brain again. So Maleficent costs 6, Develop Your Brain costs 1. There's potential of that's 8 cost. Okay, but I've looked at 4 cards. At 4 cards, and those 4 cards only cost me 2 to look at. Man, that's really, really, really good. And then you have the ability to potentially do it again and again, depending on how you built your deck and what cards are in there as well. All right, the next card that we got, speaking of recursion, we have Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Hades is a 4 cost, 3/2/1 non-inkable Storyborn villain deity with the ability Well of Souls, which says when you play this character, return a character card from your discard to your hand. Again, very much on theme, especially for a character like Hades. And again, this is another character which pairs very well with that gift box Hades. I can't remember the specific name of that card offhand, but basically that Hades, he gets a buff to his lore based off of how many villains are in play, but then you can also, he has Floodborn, so you could shift on top of this Hades as well. So Jim, what do you think about this Hades, man?
Yeah, this card I love it. The Lord of the Underworld, being able to return cards from the graveyard. All right, it's called your discard, but for me, it's your graveyard. Right. Makes so much sense for it. And we have another villain for, again, that other Hades to give more lore counters. It's, the cost itself for the value that it has with the 3 attack, 2 toughness, 2 willpower, and one and 1 lore. It is on the low end, but it gets you back a character card, and it synergizes with other stuff as well. Really good setup.
Yeah, so I'm a fan. One of my favorite things about this card is honestly the artwork. I'm a big fan of the artwork. Again, if you look at the movie, this scene was very blue, was very dark, black, blue, very grim, but this is a much more vibrant image, giving you that same feeling, okay? But it's just a much more vibrant image. And I love this artwork. I love all of the artwork so far in this game, and this is just another awesome piece. So the next card that we got is another song, Part of Your World. Part of Your World is a 3-cost action, a 3-cost non-inkable action song, which says return a character card from your discard to your hand. So it's basically Hades' ability slapped onto an action. Jim, what do you think about Part of Your World as an action? So basically we're getting that ability from Hades. What do you think?
So if we look at this card and it being 3 mana, 3 cost to return a card from your discard to your hand, going back to Hades, it now makes it to where Hades essentially is a 1 cost 3/2 with one quested lore.
One lore.
If you look at it like that, Hades is phenomenal. Yeah. But now go back to the Part of Your World. The fact that you can take any character from your discard and you can make this card free as well.
Yeah.
Stupidly good. If you let's say you play the Hades and then next turn you even play the Part of Your World to tap down the Hades, you've 2 creatures from your graveyard. Oh my goodness. I don't want to be on the other side of that table, to be honest with you. I don't want to be.
What's interesting to me is that we're seeing this effect in Amber, right? Because so far, and we are going to be having a color identity video coming up. So we're going to dive deeper into this topic, but for color identity. But again, with Amber, we were seeing a lot of protection mechanics. So this is very interesting because I don't initially I wouldn't picture recursion as a sort of protection type thing. I can see it makes sense very much. It's just this is not what I would have pictured initially. What do you think about that? Do you view those simultaneously, or do you view them as kind of separate? What do you think?
Well, I see it being the same, because if you're bringing your teammates back to life, essentially, you are protecting them. Yeah, and since all of these for Amber, they're pretty much stating a character card, it's like you're resurrecting them.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense.
That very does. Again, man, it's the theme, the theming, it's all on point, man. It is all very much on point. All right, so the next one we got is the most broken card. Oh my god, it's so broken. It is the Coconut Basket. So the Coconut Basket is a 2-cost inkable item in Sapphire with the ability Consider the Coconut, which says whenever you play a character, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. Jim, what do you think of the Coconut, man? What do you think?
I think it's okay. I don't think it's ridiculously broken. I know some people have brought up Maurice and the Coconut, and overall,
it's a good synergy. It's just a good synergy, you know?
It's a good synergy, and down the line, there's going to be, let's say there's an item that whenever a character comes into play, you draw a card, right? So when that becomes a thing, you can do Maurice to make it cheaper, and then that comes into play. Maurice, you draw a card. Other stuff comes into play. Now you're drawing off that new item, right? Like there's going to be a lot of really good cards to go with Maurice, and this is good. I don't think it's a bad card, especially heal 2 whenever another player comes into, or whenever you play a character. So there's going to be times where you're going to play multiple characters, and you can heal up like 4, 6, maybe even 8 damage from your board. It is nice.
Yeah, so that's Coconut Basket. I'm a fan. I do like it, but again, time will tell of how good this card actually is and how much it sees play. I mean, initially, a lot of people were talking about it. I do think it's going to see a lot of initial play, especially in this early play testing period, which is just interesting and funny to talk about, right? Because it's going to be all over the meta. but that is the coconut. Yeah. All right, but that is the Coconut Basket. All right, so the next card that we got is Control Your Temper. Control Your Temper is a 1-cost inkable action in Amber with the rules text. Chosen character gets -2 strength this turn. Jim, what do you think about Control Your Temper? What do you think about that cost to effect ratio? What do you think?
So we have this effect, or these effects in Magic, and you don't really see them a lot. It's more of just if the card itself is good and has this, it's just a little extra. Just a little extra bonus, but you don't really go out of your way to play cards like these. The only reason I can even see you playing this is since damage does stay there throughout every turn. It doesn't just get healed. It is really hard to say just how important these effects will be. But the 1 mana essentially saving 2 life or dealing 2 life. You know, there is a difference between healing 2 life and just dealing 2. So, you know, if this was -3, then it'd just be, I think, better for that cost and the effect. But yeah, I'm not too sold on cards like this.
But, I mean, again, time will tell how many of these types of effects we're going to see. We have seen a similar effect on Scar, the Scar and Sapphire. Excuse me. But again, this 1 for 2, again, that same rate of fire the cannons, that 1 cost dealing at 2 damage, but with the recursion basically stapled directly onto another card, being able to get that specific card back from your discard pile, essentially. So again, time will tell of how well Control Your Temper is. I mean, I'm just not sold because, again, like you said, we do see effects like this in other games. They're typically not played, but time will tell of how much this card is going to be played. So the next card that we got, I'm kind of high on this card. So this is Pascal, Rapunzel's Companion. So Pascal is a 1-cost, 1/1/1 inkable Storyborn ally in Amethyst. So Pascal has the ability Camouflage, which states while you have another character in play, this character gains Evasive. So I think for 1, this is actually pretty good. Jim, what do you think? What do you think about Pascal?
Yeah, for 1 mana, this card is really good. Sure, it doesn't have the 2 lore like the Maleficent, but this gains evasion. So as long as you have another creature, this thing will continue to, well, and as long as they don't have a Simba to destroy this thing. You know, this thing will consistently be getting you that 1 lore that you need. So overall, I like this card.
So what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have evasion, but it being evasive is contingent upon something else. I mean, for 1, it's very good. I just can't think of that word. That word is escaping me. It'll come to me when we're done recording, but that's okay. So that's Pascal, Rapunzel's Companion. The next card is Beast Mirror. So this was initially touched on in that quick start rules. So we finally got it in the gameplay videos. So this is Beast Mirror. So Beast Mirror is a 2-cost steel, a 2-cost inkable steel item with the ability Show Me, which states you exert it, you pay 3, and then if you have no cards in your hand, draw a card. Jim, what do you think of this card, man?
So this card is pretty good if you're playing aggro, right? And it does seem a lot of the steel cards you're pretty much going to be playing aggro. So if it was more than draw a card, it would be pretty good. But yeah, for 3 mana, every single turn, if you have no card in your hand, yeah, I don't really like it at all.
Yeah, this is definitely one where I'm like, I have to wait and see, because this to me is going to be very deck dependent, very meta dependent. And again, when you say aggro, this is a concept that's going to be, I kind of want to touch on in other videos, but like, what do we mean when we say aggro? Because again, in many games, what do aggro decks do? They look to attack their opponent's life point total. Well, there are no life point totals here, but we can challenge. So if we're challenging, is that considered aggro? No, I think this game is going to be, if you're just questing, that's going to be aggro. So
I'm also looking at it more of, if you're just playing a lot of stuff from your hand, like regardless if you're attacking your opponent's creatures or if you're just questing, it's, if you're dropping a lot of stuff from your hand, I think you're playing aggressive.
Yeah. If you're just dumping your hand and just play, you're consistently not having a lot of cards in your hand. I mean, this is very much a red card in Magic, right? Yeah. Very dependent upon you just dumping your entire hand turn after turn. Yeah. So, again, this is just a card that for me, I'm just going to kind of wait and see what it looks like within the metagame. All right, the next one we have is Lantern. So Lantern is a 2-cost non-inkable item in Amber with the ability Birthday Lights, which states you can exert this item, you pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. So is this a coupon, or is it a discount, or is it a mail-in rebate? I don't know. Jim, what do you think about the Lantern?
I call them coupons.
It's a coupon? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This card is just good. You're pretty much able to use it every single turn. And do we know if cards can't be reduced?
Stack?
Oh yeah, no, because Moris and Coconuts. Yeah, you could play a 1-drop after playing this card. But it's just good. It can be good right off the bat, and in future turns, you're just going to get a lot of value from it. So I like it.
This is another card in Amber where we're seeing cost reduction. So cost reduction seems to be a pretty heavy theme within this color so far. So again, I'm very interested to see what other themes and archetypes these other colors or ink colors are going to lean into. So, I mean, this just can be pretty strong. Because again, especially if you have multiple lanterns on board, you're just playing expensive stuff after expensive stuff just for a lot cheaper. And so far, we have seen no item removal. We have seen no item interaction, no item removal so far. Again, it's still very early, but we're definitely going to see it. We will definitely see it soon. But just we haven't seen it so far. So that's Lantern in the Amber colors. All right, well, that's it. That's all the cards that we got that were spoiled for us last week. That was a lot to go over. I'm kind of tired. That was a long one, man. But you know what? Get excited, guys, because we're gonna be doing this for all the spoilers coming up. We're gonna be doing, hopefully, I mean, I shouldn't say daily spoiler videos, but just when we have new cards, we're gonna be doing specific spoiler videos for those cards. We're gonna get them out as soon as we possibly can. This one, we definitely want to just wait and kind of get everything all together into one, because last week was just absolutely crazy. And especially with this being the first set, we're really not sure how to handle everything. So let us know down below in the comments what you thought of this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, because we're going to be doing more videos like this. This was a lot of fun. Jim, what did you think about this? Did you have fun doing this? Because I mean, I did, and that's for sure.
Yeah, the thing I like most about this is I get to know the cards that are coming out. There's other card games where I like when I see new cards. Yeah. But, this is also a brand new game. Yeah. So it has that next level even more of excitement. So
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like
so
it.
there were a few other cards that we kind of saw glimpses of, but we didn't get the entire reveal. So we're not going to talk about those right now just because we don't have enough information. So once we do, we will for sure do other videos on those cards. So again, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for a couple other videos. We've got about 3 or 4 other Lorcana videos that we're going to be recording here in the next few days. A lot of good ideas. Guys, I'm looking forward to this game. This game is going to be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to it. So if you want to see all of that content, be sure to hit that like. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified for when we release new videos on the channel. And yeah, so thanks a lot for everybody for being here. This was a lot of fun. Jim, thanks a lot. I had fun. And yeah, so with all that out of the way, thanks everybody, and we'll catch you in the next video. See you, everybody.
Take care.